Hello and welcome to Sonoma Raceway, California. We're here for the first weekend of Ferrari Challenge North America. Had a brilliant day one yesterday with our Race 1 programme, and we're getting ready today for our second set of races for both Trofeo Pirelli and Copper Shell. Of course, qualifying to do this morning. We'll run through the weather and things with you in just a moment. It's a little bit colder than it was yesterday, and the classes are heading out in a different order than they did as well. We had some incidents in the Shell category yesterday on a cold track, and it's going to be a bit colder for them today. Sonoma, that's where we are for the first weekend. In around a month's time, we're heading to Daytona International Speedway. Then it's Miami Autodrome. I believe we're the first people to use that outside of Formula One. Going to be a fantastic weekend. So 2 events in Florida, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the legendary Brickyard, Watkins Glen International and Laguna Seca. Before those who wish to head across the Finale Mondiale will go to the brilliant event in Italy and see if they can seal a title. This is the challenge which faces the drivers here in California. I was going to say, we can't do the elevation change justice, but that shot actually does show you brilliantly how Sector 1 is a real roller coaster. It's up and down. So through those first few turns, that's where we saw most of the incidents yesterday in qualifying and in the race. Turn 7 and Turn 11 are your 2 biggest braking zones, and therefore the 2 best places to try and put a pass on. But actually yesterday, the decisive moves were made up in Turn 2 on the very first lap of each of those races. So let's take a look at the weather here. You can see it's a beautiful day, but the temperatures are a little bit lower. So it's 19 Celsius, and that is 52 Fahrenheit. I say it's a little bit colder. It's only 4 or 5 Fahrenheit colder than it was yesterday. But I say the Shell guys are heading out first. They were out second yesterday, qualifying 10 minutes earlier. And so I think they'll all be aware after the spins yesterday that it's going to be cold and tricky on these first couple of laps. My name's Andrew Coley. I'm joined by the legend Dave Richardson, who has done such a brilliant job of looking after this wonderful series for the last 6 or 7 years. Dave, thank you for having me along into one of your home series. You do so much of this Ferrari Challenge around the world, and yesterday was a great example of what a brilliant race series it is.
Oh, absolutely. As a one-make series, it is revered around the world. You know, we race here in North America, but Europe, Australasia has joined the mix this year, but also Japan and the UK as well, and Middle East to come a little bit later this year. It makes it one of, as I say, the most revered one-make series anywhere in the world. Now, you were mentioning that the order in which the cars will go out for qualifying has changed. You're absolutely correct in that. And of course the Shell AM drivers and the Shell drivers would have had the benefit of the running of the Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM ahead of them, putting just a little bit of a rubber down on the track. They're not going to have that benefit today. Now, there has been other track activity that has been out there this morning early in Sonoma, so it's not like there's nothing out there on the track, but I think conditions are going to be just a little tested today. Yeah,
I think they are, and of course they won't have had their Trofeo Pirelli teammates potentially running in the same team go out and bring back a bit of data for them. We were listening to the cars from Casa Ferrari earlier. The GT3 cars are out, and the traction control was kicking in a lot on the exit of Turn 11 where it was a cold morning. Now, we can get a bit more information, of course, on how it's feeling down in the pit lane, both weather-wise and atmosphere-wise, because we've got the lovely Nina Jade Paul as our reporter. Nina Jade, good morning. How is it down there?
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Andrew. It is a bit chilly, I must say. The clocks went forward last night, so the conditions are definitely a bit cooler than they were yesterday. Tyre warm-up is going to be absolutely crucial. But day 2 at Sonoma Raceway, the sun is shining, and I think from all the action and surprises we saw yesterday, I cannot wait to see what today has in store for our drivers. Speaking of our drivers, I've been having a word with them in and around the paddock over the course of the weekend, and the general consensus is qualifying is absolutely key. We saw in the races yesterday that whilst you can overtake in the heavy braking zones down in turn 7 and 11, it is a little tricky and there was some contact, so track position really is king, and I cannot wait to see who reigns supreme.
Well done. Thank you very much, Nina Jade. You're absolutely right. Difficulties yesterday, that's for sure. We saw some of that in Shell AM. Unfortunately, we're going to lose a driver in Shell AM today in terms of one driver I think is going to be missing from our qualifying. That might be Lance Corley. Lance, wish you well. I know he's perfectly okay because the integral safety of the cars are fantastic, but he's going to be out. Darren Bernstein had a bit of an off yesterday, but I was talking to Darren at breakfast this morning along with his son Max, who's threatening to be out in a Ferrari Challenge car, as he has threatened for the last couple of years. And I ribbed him about it this morning, Andrew, and he said, yeah, Dave, yeah.
He was talking about Miami, wasn't he, on Daytona, I think.
Darren's a great guy, and so is Max as well. And Darren didn't have the rub of the green yesterday, Andrew.
Darren runs white wheels. I'm a big fan of white wheels in motorsport. I am, yeah. It's like a white, like the test livery, the classic test livery for any car is white with white wheels, isn't it? And I've noticed most people have got what I call the gunmetal grey. I'm sure there's another name for it, but yeah, white rims, I like it. And another thing I noticed, my first day on the series yesterday, the shell category, the liveries are killing it. I don't know what it is about the shell guys, but you were saying a lot of them take great pride in their liveries, and there's some very cool looking cars.
We were looking at, and we are looking at, Gabe Harib, who's one of those as an example.
Yeah.
And Gabe Harib, of course, was racing yesterday. Now, he didn't win the race. He had to settle for P2. You can bet that Gabe has got the bit between his teeth, and when it comes to qualifying, he's going to do everything he can to put it on pole position and to take a race victory. Gabe is a super driver, and he's just, in my opinion, going about warming everything up. And what's also crucial, and I hear so many people saying and talking about warming the tyres. It's not only the tyres, you need to get the brakes up to temperature. There is so much componentry that you need in order for you to be able to deliver at your best.
And the biggest component, of course, which is the, as they say, the nut behind the wheel. That also needs warming up, because as a driver you do. I know they did this yesterday. They're having a fair bit of testing here during the course of the week, but you still need to get your eye back in, feel where the various different bits are. We saw people running over the dirt yesterday, particularly on the exit of the carousel turn 6. That will have been cleaned overnight, but still, track conditions change, don't they? Now, you mentioned Gabe Harib. He was second yesterday in qualifying.
This man, Jeffrey Numberg.
No, sorry, I'm thinking of Shell Am qualifying. Lance beat him, and it's Lance who's not here, isn't it?
Of course.
So Lance was the pole sitter yesterday, and because of that damage from the turn 2 incident, he's not back out. So in theory, Gabe Harib is the favourite. Having said that, I mean, there were 3 cars within 3/10 of him.
And Jeff Numberg, having taken the race win yesterday, his confidence will be sky high.
And he only qualified 6th.
Yes.
So, he's made some serious moves. One of the biggest movers of the day, wasn't he, to get up into P1?
His progress during the early part of the race was extraordinary. Now, Jeff Numberg is one of these drivers who's absolutely committed to this and takes it very, very seriously. He trains hard, he works hard, and you can tell that in his racecraft. Jeff is a very, very determined driver, and as I say, having taken the win yesterday, that will put him in a good position. It must give him some tenths today.
And that's where he made the pass, Dave. Into turn 11,
it was
bold, but it was bold. And the problem is, if you're not bold enough, if you don't get all the way up the inside, you will get turned in on. And he was bold enough to be fully alongside, then the driver next to you sees you.
And that was Gabe, and I want to give a bit of credit to Gabe Harib. It would be very, very easy to have turned in there and ruined the race for both of you. But no.
Good situational awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Situational awareness is so important. So well done to both of those drivers. So the Ferrari of Central New Jersey driver Jeffrey Numberg with his... he's put a time on the board, which is a 1:44, whereas Gabe Harib has done a 1:43. So in the early part of this qualifying, I say early part, Andrew, tell us about this qualifying session, because it's short, sharp dash for cash, isn't
12 minutes, yeah, and yesterday, I'm just trying to get the screen refreshed a bit. Here we go, that's what we're looking for. Yesterday, of course, we had a stoppage in both of the Shell categories within the first lap. So they then had what was it you called it, Dave? It was a dash for cash, wasn't it? Where they have to really go. And most of them were still getting in 4 or 5 laps, even with the stoppage. Yesterday's lap times. Let me see what pole was yesterday for Lance Cooley. Was a 1:34.9. We're some 8 seconds off that at the minute. Yesterday, when the tyres came in, we saw a jump of 5 seconds in 1 lap. And at the minute, I think they're still on those warm-up laps.
We're looking at Stephanie Herfield right now, running P5 at the moment in the 180 car. Welcome, Stephanie, to the Ferrari Challenge. Great to have you here. Ramchada has gone 5th fastest and now relegated. Now, a couple of drivers that are out of position at the moment in these early stages of qualifying, Steve Czech and Paul Lynn, I would suggest keep your eyes on those 2 drivers, but we do still have 6.5 minutes left to run, so plenty of opportunities once these tyres get into their optimum window for these drivers to really make hay while the sun does shine.
Should be this lap now. Nürburg's just going on to, has just completed lap 3. And it was his best lap. It was a 1:30. Oh, wow. Okay, Nürburg went 1:38.0. Gabe Harib has just gone 1:36.9. So now we're into the territory in yesterday. That's 2 seconds off yesterday's pole, but it is colder, and it may be that the lap time won't be there. I suspect they'll go a bit quicker than that, but that's what we're saying. Look at that, 6-7 seconds locked off the second the tyres are up to temperature.
P1 at the moment for this driver, Gabe Rib, then finished P2 in the race yesterday. The Ferrari of Atlanta driver, Gabe Rib, then, who has delivered a 1:36.918, a full clear second ahead of Jeff Nunberg. Then it is Matthew Herfield going P3, with Steve Check improving to P4 as we see him center screen right now, the Ferrari of Rancho Mirage driver, who yesterday was telling me about a picture that he had been commissioned unbeknown to him as a gift to celebrate his racing. Now,
I love that he sent that to you. I think that was really cool. He wanted you to see it, and that shows how proud he was of the result. Rightly so, but also it was a brilliant painting, I have to say.
Melissa Kozira we're watching right now, who's currently 7th fastest ahead of Darren Bernstein. Melissa, who has made her way into the Ferrari Challenge from the Club Challenge series and raced in the Ferrari Challenge last year to fine effect, and is back for another season. Let's keep our eyes on Jeff Nunberg here then. He won't be satisfied with P2. Is this going to be a time that will unseat Gabe Harib from that provisional P1 position, 1:36.918? He's done it. He's taken 6 1/3 tenths out of Gabe Harib. All of a sudden, at the top, it's Jeff Nunberg. And Gabe Harib responds with a 1:35.465, Andrew.
Now we're into the territory we're in. Yesterday, we were just a half a second off yesterday's lap time, so good effort from these guys. So yesterday's top 3 in qualifying was Lance Corley, Gabe Harib and Steve Check, and they were within 5 tenths of each other. 1:34.923 was the pole time that Corley did. And then, of course, in the race, Nunberg, Harib and Check. Nunberg having come up from P6. You can see they're starting to get onto it now, can't you? Straight away, there's leaning on the car, the dynamics of the car, the way it looks. You can just see the attitude in it. There's that long left-hander through the carousel. One of the 2 corners which really uses the tyres. And this is the other one coming up to turn 11 now.
We're running the clock on Helen Shu here, the Ferrari of San Diego driver. Currently 12th fastest, sitting just behind Darren Bernstein as Melissa Kozira improves a place and moves up to P9. Helen Shu then target time 1:35.465. We're not going to beat that, but it might be an improvement personally. Or was it a warm-up? No, it was an improvement. Improved 4 places up to P9. So well done to Helen Shu. Here's Jeff Nunberg. Is he going to respond to Gabe Harib? Let's run the clock. Here it is, counting down those vital 100ths and tenths as he heads towards the timing line to break the beam. He looks for a 1:35.465 and he's 8 and a few tenths off. So Gabe Harib remains P1. There's quite a psychological battle that's going on because, of course, all the information will be fed to the drivers, Andrew, via their coaches on the radio. And sometimes it's better not to say anything.
Absolutely, it depends what you want. It also depends how your driver is. You know, there are some people who want people on the radio the whole time telling them to push, 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 and there are others who want to be left alone. I mean, Kimi Räikkönen, I think, was it? No, was it Räikkönen? Yeah, it was. Yeah, leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. I don't think they're quite that rude here in the Ferrari Challenge, but drivers have different amounts of information they want feeding. Some people want them on the radio all the time, and some people not so much.
Steve Check has just moved into P2, and he's the second driver to put it into the 35s. So 1:35.618 from Steve Check, the Ferrari of Rancho Mirage driver, who's well worth watching in the 1-2-4 car. So now Jeff Nunberg, where he sat atop the chart a few moments ago, is now P3, and there's only 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, 8 tenths to find. Well, 7 tenths if he wants to get back onto the front row. That's where you really want to be. You've got the best chance of either getting the whole shot in turn 1 or going around the outside, as we saw yesterday, that brilliant move in the Trofeo Pirelli race for the lead. Just looking at timing as well, so yesterday's Ladies' Cup winner Stephanie Herfield is in P7, 1:38.8, and yesterday's Gentleman's Cup, which is Jeff Keel, he's in P9 on a 1:40.1, so they're the fastest in their categories. Yeah, that bodes well for trying to repeat that result today.
Yes, of course. So Gabe Harib, Steve Check, P2. Jeff Nunberg now goes P2, though he's got closer. He's got within a tenth of Gabe Harib. So Jeff Nunberg, Ferrari of Central New Jersey, there he is, centre screen, with a 1:35.581. We've got a minute and a half remaining in this qualifying session. Anyone that's on a lap and the checkered flag comes out, they can continue on that lap. But here comes Steve Check looking for an improvement. He's got traffic ahead of him, but it's far enough away that I don't think it will impede his progress towards the timing beam on this lap. But this, and Steve is certainly going to be able to go again. Let's see how he does. He's some way out from the wall, but he's carrying quite a bit more speed, perhaps. And sure enough, he's gone P1 with a 1:35.438. This is how close it is. We're talking about 2 100s between P1 and P2.
I was just about to say he's got a bit of battle damage down the right-hand side of the car. If you can see some tyre scrubbing marks from where they were super close together yesterday. We saw some very, very close racing yesterday. Look at his right-hand door and you'll see it. But yeah, great. Moves into the pole. So the top three now are covered by 0.143 of a second. Gabe Harib maybe on a push lap at the end here. This will be 26 seconds. He's coming through the S's. I think he might scrape it round for another lap. What's he on? 10? No, he won't, because he's 30 seconds from the finish if he's on 105 now. So this will be his last lap, I think. Checkered will come out at 00. Art car concept, isn't it, with all the autograph style graffiti across it. Oh, is he going to get checked up here? That's a nightmare up at the hairpin. He's had to come offline and compromises his entry and therefore compromises his exit. So if Rib can take it from there, then he's done a great job. He was 0.027 off before. He does. He does. Even with being held up at the hairpin, Gabe Harib sticks it in the 134s. 134.9. Yesterday was a 2.3. He's 33 hundredths off yesterday's pole time. Brilliant. And that would have been quicker not for the hairpin.
And you're absolutely right. He was impeded a little bit. I mean, to be fair, Paul Lynn did everything he did to get out of his way.
He can't go through the wall, as you say.
You can't make your car disappear. So Gabe Harib was compromised, and therefore he was probably even quicker than the 134.952. But that is sufficient, unless...
Yeah, Steve Check's the only one out there, isn't he? He's just come in, apparently. He's just come in the pits.
There we have it then. Our pole sitter is Gabe Harib. What a great drive. Right at the end of the qualifying session, Gabe Harib for Ferrari of Atlanta has done it and put it on P1. Steve Check P2, Jeff Nunberg P3, Michael Owens is going to be P4, Paul Lynn P5, Matthew Herfield and Stephanie Herfield P6 and 7. Of Jeffrey Gale, but we'll bring you the official results in just a couple of moments.
The Herfields, do we know? Are they? I need to go and meet them. I think they're new to the series, aren't they?
They are, and they're both from Ferrari Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the relationship is. Is it husband and wife? Because if it is, they're very close together. There's less than a tenth of a second in between them, which is fantastic.
I have to say, with my musical preference, which you shouldn't bring your personality into the program, but Philadelphia, that's a great place, and of course has been the scene of some phenomenal audio over the years, the sound of Philadelphia. Jeff Nunberg then, Ferrari of Central New Jersey, P3. Forgive me dipping into my own preferences.
Mate, everybody needs a bit of character.
And I am a bit, if not a character. Gabe Harib, though, has done it. And Gabe is the only... Psychologically, Andrew, you as a former successful racing driver...
when you clearing your throat there, rally and rallycross. We race on the gravel on purpose, and particularly in rallycross. But yeah, I have done some car-to-car racing.
To be P1 is of course hugely impressive. But when you as a driver, you've taken P1 by very nearly half a second, that must make you feel good about yourself.
I think certainly this morning, that's a great performance. I was thinking to myself, okay, the pace is half a second off yesterday. I was like, okay, fair enough, it's a bit colder, maybe the conditions are different. But Gabe Harib has gone out and said, you know what, they're not. He's within 300ths of 3/10, I think it was. Hundredths of the pole time from yesterday. So it's brilliant performance. He's on the pole. Steve Check's alongside him. Remember, they were P2 and P3 in yesterday's race. Jeffrey Nunberg, who won yesterday, is in P3 on the grid. So our top three from yesterday are the top three on the grid.
And here's Andrew Coley with the classification from qualifying for day two.
Gabe Harib takes the pole, 134.952 from Steve Check, just 0.486 of a second back. Nunberg are saying P3. They are yesterday's top three. Canadian Michael Owens is P4. Then it's Paul Lynn, Matthew Herfield, Stephanie Herfield, Melissa Kozira in P8. And then you can see the comparison times now once we get to the top 10. There's some 5 seconds down to Rachel Bayliss, Jeffrey Keel. They were the winners of yesterday's Ladies and Gents Cup. Helen Chu, Ram Chada, Darren Bernstein, Lance Corley, Al Heggie are your top 15. No times to those bottom ones. In fact, I'm suspecting Gabe. Sorry, I was just in Gabe at the top there. 3 drivers with no time, but we know Lance Corley isn't coming back, I believe, don't we, from a chat this morning in the paddock?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Regrettably, he won't be running today. So that is the confirmation of how the Shell Am qualifying was down on the tarmac, and we've got the Shell qualifying to come, and champing at the bit to get out there, as you can see, is Richard Pineda in the 152 car, and he's backed up there by the Jarrett Bilicek car. Now, Jarrett was really impressive yesterday, only just off the podium, took a P4. Jarrett Bilicek really impressed me yesterday. Someone to never bet against is the 166 car of Chuck Whittle, who of course was on the podium taking P3 yesterday. Talk about the art on the cars. Chuck Whittle's is another one that is absolutely awesome. Then we can see the car as we go down of Alberto Duran. Alberto Duran, a welcome addition to the Ferrari Challenge this year. And we move on with our RF camera look going down all the way down the runners and riders in this Shell qualifying. And it's Brian Waltersdorf that you can see there. And right behind Brian Waltersdorf and staying loyal to the Rosso colour of Ferrari is the 143 car of Ed Vartigan for Scottsdale Ferrari. So there we can see the cars and it's really nice to get these shots when they're going back to their garages as well. Gary had a reasonable day yesterday by taking a P2. He'll want to go one better than that today, of course, in the Shell category. And then we see the car of Osvaldo Gallo. Always one to enjoy watching is Osvaldo. We get the green flag, and the Shell drivers are out for their qualifying.
Green flag on the session. 12-minute clock starts to tick down immediately. Yesterday, again, we saw... Actually, I took the times yesterday of when people set their quickest time. So, in Copper Shell Am yesterday, all three of the top times were set on lap 6. In Copper Shell, it was Mitchell Green did his fastest lap on just his third lap. Chuck Whittle and Gary Ott were P2 and P3. They, again, took up to lap 6. So I think once these guys get their tyres up to temperature, you know, we're looking at a few attempts to try and get that fast lap. But particularly impressive was, say, Mitchell Green yesterday, first pole, first win, and put the on pole on just the third lap of the session.
And it was an impressive pole, and it was an impressive win as well.
Little side, sorry, it interrupted you with an all.
Did I miss something?
No, not too much. It was, you know, yesterday we saw 2 spins. It was nicely collected. It was just a little sideways moment. I think it might have been Gary Ott, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just a little sideways coming out the corner. Yeah, so it was impressive. Yeah, it was very impressive. It was by a big margin, wasn't it?
We're on board with Roy Carroll then for Foreign Cars Italia as he accelerates now. And a great onboard shot this is, as Roy Carroll now climbs up the hill as, that's Chuck Whittle who's gone around. Cold tyres, I would suggest, Andrew.
Yeah, and luckily not in the wall. Look at that livery, look at the glinting. That's epic levels of glinting, is it? That's on the exit of the carousel. We saw a lot of people on the dirt there yesterday, and we saw that one big spin as well, didn't we? Look, it's mirrored. Look at it. Admire this, Dave. You must admire the livery.
You have epic glinting, sir.
Yeah.
No, well, I've never heard that before.
Well, I love a good wrap on a car, you know.
Lower prices around the store. No, not that sort of wrapping. Here's Jarrett Bilicek, then, Ferrari of Central Florida. He was really impressive yesterday, in my opinion. He will want to go one better today to kick off the opening round of the weekend with at least a podium. I mean, P4 yesterday, great result, but you're not on the podium, and I'm sure Jarrett would like to do that. So he's going to do everything he can in qualifying now to right the wrongs of yesterday, in his opinion, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he was only 3.6 seconds off the podium yesterday, so he really was in the mix. I noticed this shot yesterday. Our camera position's brilliant because you can see through the front screen and also the left window of the drivers as they come past, and you really get to see the inputs.
Yes.
Particularly when a driver wears bright coloured gloves, you really see it. If they're wearing yellow gloves, yeah, people choose different colours for their racewear, and you'll really see how hard they have to work the wheel. And when the conditions are cold and it makes you realize how many inputs there are in a corner. Sometimes from the outside it looks, that's lovely through there. When you go on board, which we do have a couple of onboards for you today. This morning it's with Roy Carroll. But when you look through the window and you see those inputs, I love it. It makes you realize how hard the drivers are working.
Jan Bernier is working hard to warm his car up. We just saw him out there on his first sort of warm-up, if you will, as we watch Brad Evans now in the 151 car. So you're right, it looks... Is it fair to say a comparison to the proverbial Swan? Because it looks super smooth from the outside, but inside there's a whole lot of work going on.
Absolutely that. And you know what, I often think that's for people who are not motorsport fans, when they watch, they don't see those things. You know, in the same way that I would. So, for instance, golf is great, but I couldn't tell you what a good golf swing is or not because I don't play. I don't love it like golf people love it. And I think when non-motorsport people watch and they go, "It's just driving a car," it's like, no, you don't understand how much has gone into it. The balance and the feel that you're getting through your rear end in the seat, you know, and just the tiny little inputs that you make to but all while going incredibly fast, really close to the wall. You know, there's the fear factor that comes into it. It's a wonderful sport, and I always want to bring people. Anyone who doesn't get it, I'll tell you what, I'll take you for a lap, and we'll see if you get it afterwards. And it's then that you start to notice those little things. And for those of us that are real fans, just seeing a car move around, I love it.
It's poetry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant,
Poetry.
especially when someone's on the limit and they're using all the road and all their talent. It's fantastic. We saw a bit of that yesterday, and we will again today.
Similar to my ballet career, to be honest with you. There you can see.
Was it a long career, Dave?
Richard Benita fighting with the car a little bit then.
Yeah, you just see, that's what I mean. Just watch for those inputs. And again, even when you see through the cockpit, they sometimes see how hard they're working. That's the corner that caused the most problems yesterday.
Yes, it was.
In qualifying 3A. It's
Why?
Why,
Andrew?
Because it's a right-hander over a crest just after a left. So you come through the left, meaning you're leaning on the right side of the car. You turn in, then the other way into the right-hander, and the weight transfers to the left. As it transfers to the left, you're going over the crest. So think about driving over a humpback bridge. It's not quite that pronounced, but it's a similar feeling when your stomach goes and the car's gone light. So the car's going light mid-corner, you're transferring the weight at the same time. If you're not ready with the opposite lock, it'll fire you off.
We're on board with Roy Carroll right now then, that onboard shot that you were talking about, and this is great. Talk us through this as he comes into turn 11. Turns in, just kissing the apex nicely, Roy. He runs it out to the outside to try and carry as much momentum as possible through that kink. There you can see Roy is absolutely on it. Is there a little lift?
Yeah, it's quick through here, and then you've got to get it straight and up into the hairpin up at turn 2. We're going to take a break from our onboard and pop down to the pits because Gabe Harib, our pole sitter from Copshell Am, is with Nina Jade Paul.
Gabe, goodness me, down to the wire there. Congratulations, first pole. How are you feeling?
Amazing. This track is absolutely relentless, and it gives you no rest at all. And I gotta say special thanks to Lowry, Rosa Corsa, and Atlanta Ferrari. They did a great job with supporting us, and just I couldn't be here without them. I'm living the dream. I really appreciate everything they do, and this is a great time.
Cooler conditions out here today. How tricky was it putting that perfect lap together, Gabe?
You just got to concentrate. I was just in the right spot and just got really lucky, and concentrating on that track you just has to be a perfect orchestration of corners and rolling speed, and it just worked out perfect.
Right, so your first ever pole. How achievable is a race win tomorrow, Gabe?
Well, I want to be cautious, but I'm optimistic.
You got this. Congratulations.
Thank
Go
you.
well.
Yeah, well done to Gabe Harib. As we look at Jan Bernier, he's going to be one of the front runners for sure. But I said this yesterday, there are not many things I say that are correct, but Mitchell Green is already laying down the gauntlet, taking his win yesterday. He's found a few tenths today as well, because his confidence will be sky high. And here comes Jan Bernier then for Ferrari of Seattle. Currently P15. Don't expect him to stay there for very long, because Jan Bernier breaks the timing beam now and goes P3. Make that P4 as Orsini has just gone even better, but it's Mitchell Green from Bruce Cleveland. Then it is Orsini, but Bilicek has just gone P2. It's all happening in the Shell drivers.
We said this yesterday. Remember, we were talking about, I said that how that it can release the pressure from you. Can I do this when you actually do it? We said it when Green was leading. He led under pressure. We had the yellow flag, full course safety. And he held on all the way through the race. He even had a gap at the end of it, and he just then, as we said, you find that confidence. 132.9, he did yesterday a 132.1, so he's actually just gone some 1 point something seconds quicker than he did on the previous run. So he's right up the front. This was mad yesterday. I think I told you, but I can't remember, Dave. So I was down at the podium, I met Mitchell, congratulated him as you did on his result, and the lad next to him goes, mate, he said to me, and I turn around and it's Jamie Morrow, a lad who I instructed with in the UK a decade ago for 10 years. He said, he looked at me, he goes, I thought it was you. He said, and then you opened your mouth and I knew it was you. So hello to Jamie, who is Mitchell's driver coach, and it just makes you realise what a small world it is. I got another text message from a guy I'm up in Canada when I was working on the World Rallycross Championship, and he was at university training to be an engineer. I said, I'll come down and see you. I said, what are you up to? He said, I'm running 4 cars. Brilliant. And that's years later, he's here running 4 cars. And I love that community that you've got within the world of motorsport. So isn't that fantastic?
Well, first of all, well done, Jamie. You're doing a good job with your driver.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
But also, yes, what a small world our
It's lovely, isn't it?
wonderful motor racing world is. Jan Bernier goes P1 with a 132.8. It's only 6/100ths, you know,
Yeah.
but it's going to be nip and tuck all the way to the checkered flag, and we've got 3 minutes of qualifying still to come.
I always think the 6/100ths, and then when you say it's 67 thousandths, which one sounds closer?
Well, yeah,
You know what I mean? don't you? 'Cause I always think that. And I'll get myself confused as well when we go to 3 digits. We did discuss live maths yesterday. It's terribly hard. But yeah, 0.067. So Mitchell Green's just crossed the line again because I saw his timing flash. Let me see what his
We're
last
watching
lap
Brad
was.
Evans here, who finished P5 yesterday, and Brad is looking very lively as well. He's P3 at the moment. So Brad Evans doing a good job for Ferrari of San Antonio. And, yep, third fastest currently. Finished P5 yesterday. Very creditable result for the somewhat understated livery of the 151 car, if I may say so. It's very, very stylish. Jan Bernier currently P1. Mitchell Green will not be happy about that. Gary Ott has just gone third fastest for Ferrari Philadelphia with a 1:33.412.
So yeah, Mitchell Green's last lap was 10 seconds off his normal pace, so he's either having what I would regard as a rest lap, or he's coming in.
Okay.
So he could have had a spin. Of course, we're not following every car the whole time, but let's see if he feels there's time for one more push lap, or if he comes into the pit.
Here comes Brad Evans to cross the timing line. He improves a further place. He's now gone P4. And Bruce Cleveland, really impressive as well. Bruce Cleveland, Ferrari of Silicon Valley, P5, local driver, of course, hailed from this area.
And was it Bruce yesterday fought his way up from the back of the grid? Who was it that came up from the back of the grid?
No, you're thinking of somebody else. And
I am. Who was it?
Yeah, you are thinking about. You're thinking about our Canadian driver in Pirelli, Martin Burrows.
Yes, I am. That's it, Martin Burrows. Thank you. Yep. First season for me here in North America with Ferrari. Got lots of cars and lots of names. I think I met about 100 people on Friday. And Mitchell Green's gone back to the top with a 132.1. And that is 142 yesterday, 178 today. He's within 300ths of his pole time from yesterday. And there's 1 minute 13 left for Bernier, Ott, Evans and Cleveland to try and respond to that. But that's a great lap. So he did have a rest lap. Came round 10 seconds slower on the previous circulation and has then gone on a big push and got within an eighth of yesterday's lap time.
Fantastic. This is like a race program all on its own, isn't it, this qualifying? Loving it. Mitchell Green from Jan Bernier, then Gary Ott, Brad Evans, Bruce Cleveland are the top 5 in Shell. Qualifying best time, a 1:32.178 from Mitchell Green. Okay, here comes Brad Evans then. Into the hairpin now. P4, can he improve? He's going to be able to go again because he's going to cross the timing line with time left on the clock and therefore can go again, but in doing so, he's taken another lap of longevity out of his tyres. Then he's improved. He's gone to P3.
Gone up by 0.5 of a second onto a 1:33.1, so he's within a second of the pole time now. It's enough to stick him on the inside of row 2 at the cost of Gary Ott, who drops down 1 place.
Mitchell Green, Jan Bernier, they are the top 2 at the moment. And it's been very, very close as we watch the car of Chuck Whittle on the podium yesterday, P3. His P7 at the moment with his best lap of 1:34.122. This is his last opportunity because the checkered flag is out right now. What can Chuck Whittle do? Can he find the time he needs to at least trouble those front runners in terms of the qualifying times and, of course, critically, grid position as Brian Waterstorff heads towards the timing line right now. Brian Waterstorff currently sitting further down the order than he would like, and he stays P15. So, who is on a hot lap? Are we going to see any improvements towards the sharp end, if you like, of the grid for today's race?
Yeah, session coming to a close, isn't it? This is last chance saloon. Yeah, we're coming up towards the line through the left-hander with that fantastic livery over the line.
He does improve.
Moves it, yeah, up to P4. Big improvement. That's up 2 rows.
Here's Jan Bernier. No, but he comes into the pit lane.
So Bernier will remain P2. He's going to be outside row 1, 4/10 off. And Checker's just come out for Brad Evans as well. So that's settled it. Bernier's in, and that means that Mitchell Green takes the pole. First pole ever yesterday, second pole ever today. That's 2 in a row. It's a lockout of the poles. Can he get a lockout of the wins as well? What a brilliant performance by him.
So the Mitchell-Jamie combo is working wonders here this weekend, isn't it?
It is indeed.
So well done, Mitchell Green then, Ferrari Westlake driver. He is P1 once again. We see Roy Carroll coming into the pit lane. Mitchell Green from Jan Bernier, then it's Evans and Chuck Whittle. They are on the front 2 rows of the grid. We ride on board with the Foreign Cars Italia drivers. Our Trofeo Pirelli drivers are standing by to get out there for their qualifying session. Really is terribly exciting in the morning when it comes to a Ferrari Challenge race weekend, because there's so much going on. Bearing in mind, it's not only the Challenge cars out there on track, we also have other elements of the Corsa Clienti programs from Ferrari that are sharing track time as well, so there's lots going on. It's going to be the Pirelli AM drivers that will be the first out for their classes, as we see the remaining Shell drivers bring their cars back to the pit lane. He's done it again. Second pole position. Well done, Mitchell Green. He is with Nina Jade Paul.
He has done it again. Mitchell Green, you described the pole position yesterday as the lap of your life. You're having a dream weekend.
Good weekend.
Describe this pole position
It
now.
was awesome. Jan made me work for it. He put in a flyer, and I thought he was going to go up for one more and rip it. And I tried to get up towards the front, and he stayed in to the very end and came out last. But it was good. On the first lap, I mean, obviously cold tires out there. A couple of cars spun, but nobody is in the wall, so it was good. It was
Yeah,
fun. Great
it was
race.
nip and tuck between you and Jan. You've got him starting behind you tomorrow. How do you feel about that? Can you keep him behind you?
I'm going to try. He's good, though. He's fast. He almost got me in the restart yesterday as well, but he's got a lot more race experience than I do, so he says I'm just more fearless, so we'll see.
We'll go well tomorrow, Mitchell. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
It's only Mitchell's second season in a race car at all, so this is just year 2. We said yesterday, didn't we, were frantically looking through his previous results to see his first podium was at Imola at the end of the season last year. I think he had a couple of good results in Vegas as well. But yeah, takes the pole. So Mitchell Green with 2 poles from 2 races. He gets both of them at the Sonoma Raceway doubleheader. Jan Bernier, 0.4 of a second behind. Brad Evans, Chuck Whittle, Gary Ott, Bruce Cleveland, Kevin Orsini and Roy Carroll are your top 8. We had the onboard with Roy Carroll. I'm sure we'll see more of that later on today. Lisa Clark, Jarrett Bilacek, Mike Chen, John Lennon, Richard Pineda, Andrew Parker and Brian Waltersdorf down to P15. Just 4 seconds covering all those cars. Osvaldo Gallo, Joe Sposato, Ed Vortigern, Alberto Duran and Henry Hummel. No time for Henry Hummel. We saw him this morning, didn't we? He was in really good form, wasn't he?
Yes, Henry Hummel and Lance Corley had it coming together in the race yesterday, and it's just unfortunate set of circumstances. Neither driver a fold.
He told us a brilliant story, didn't he? He did say, "Look, you can use it," so
Yeah.
we should, shouldn't we? He was on the radio to his
Driver coach,
yeah.
Max Blancardi, and Max said, "Are you okay? You okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm absolutely fine." He says, "Is the car running?" Yeah.
Can you go?
Can you go? Well, I haven't got a door.
And then he said the driver coach went quiet, didn't he?
Yeah.
We're like, okay, that's probably it. So yeah,
Henry is a lovely guy.
And
isn't
he then described the race last year, didn't he? He had to hold on to. He got P3, and his driver
Why aren't
coach
you
again
talking
was
to
on the
me?
radio going, "You got P3? Can you hear me? You got P3?" He's like, "I can't talk on the radio. I'm holding the door shut." So yeah, he's him and his driver coach have got a thing about doors.
And Max Blancardi is, Italians. And we love them because of what they deliver for us. But Max is loud and proud. I can tell you. He's a
Brilliant.
multi-champion in Ferrari Challenge, and now of course driver coaching as well. I mean, yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy. Okay, let's get qualifying underway then. And Andrew Coley, we've got our Pirelli AM drivers out now.
We have indeed, say it's complete reverse order today. So if you're not familiar with the structure, the copper shell is for the drivers who are just coming up through Corsa Cliente, if you like, and getting into motor racing. This year they're in the 296 Challenge, which is great. So all the cars are in 296 Challenge for Ferrari Challenge North America. And then we have Trofeo Pirelli. So again, we have the AM category and the overall category. And the drivers get moved up according to their performances. So if you were to win the Copper Shell last year, it's highly likely that you'll be moved up into the Trofeo Pirelli category or the Pirelli AM category. Some drivers go, last year's 488 Evo champion went straight into the top category of Trofeo Pirelli.
Yes, of course, very young and very good driver, Massimo Perena. Of course, yes, he's been vaulted straight into Pirelli. But what you were saying there is absolutely true. If you look at the Shell champion from last year, Eric Marston for Ferrari Westlake, he indeed is one of the drivers we'll see out in this qualifying session right now because he is a Pirelli AM driver. And I think by Eric's own admission, he would say that it steps up. You
Absolutely.
have to step up as well. And Eric didn't have it all his own way yesterday. But Eric is a great driver. Now, Gerdas Van Slovas, another one of the drivers that was racing in the 488s last year for Continental Autosports, and Gerdas Van Slovas, he's a driver whose talent was recognised by none other than Tony Villander. Gerdas was on a Ferrari driving event, and Tony was supporting him, as so many drivers from the Ferrari stable do go to these events, and they support and offer their advice and all the rest of it. And he kind of talent spotted Gerdas Van Slovas and said, have you considered doing Corso Pilota and getting into the challenge, because it's your cup of tea, in my opinion. I'm sure he didn't use that, the cup of tea expression, but, you know, so Tony's pretty proud of Gerdas.
Yeah, I'll bet. Looking forward to having Tony alongside me later on this season. I understand he's a great guy.
Oh, he is. Absolutely fantastic. You know,
multiple winner of many different GT categories. Really looking forward to his thoughts on things.
Yeah, he is an extraordinary driver. Been with the Ferrari stable for many, many years, and Tony is from Finland.
Yes, I work with a lot of Finns. I'm a big fan of Finns.
Yeah, he is a great guy. Here's John Horsch for Ferrari of Vancouver then. John Horsch driving the number 67 car, the all-black livery that we've come to associate with John Horsch. I know we spoke to him yesterday. The day before yesterday. Of course, he had his big hat on as well. John Horsch loves these Ferrari Challenge weekends, and he's been a long-time campaigner in the Ferrari Challenge, and great to see John Horsch back out again. He's a Trofeo Pirelli AM driver, and he is out there setting the best times that he can when it comes to qualifying, but I don't think we'll see the top times for a few moments yet. Let the cars get themselves rub it in, or the tyres rub it in rather, and get the track to their liking. Then they'll go for their push laps towards the end of the session, I would suggest, Andrew.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, the Pirelli guys yesterday were banging their laps in a bit earlier. So, Trofeo Pirelli Am, say that, lap 4, lap 6, lap 8 for the top 3. But when you get into Trofeo Pirelli, all lap 4 or lap 3. So it's literally get out. We know that basically the driver coaches and the top drivers will tell you the peak lap normally when temperatures are high is lap 3. Right. So 2 laps to warm it up and then get the best lap in you can on lap 3. Obviously, every time you're taking a layer of rubber off the tyre, in theory, you're losing some of that lap time. Now, because temperatures are a little bit colder here at Sonoma, because we're here in the spring, they're able to get good push laps in later on. Now, interestingly, we were speaking to Sebastian last night, and he was saying, the tyres didn't last as long as we thought. So the night before, he was telling me, yeah, we think we're going to be right for 15 laps. And last night he said, because the pace is so hot, actually they're wearing the tyres out quicker than they thought. And some of the driver coaches are now suggesting, why don't we try traction control just going up as the race goes on? So start the race on setting number 1, which is the least traction control, and then as the car starts to get a bit slippery on the rear end, just stick it up a notch onto number 2, try and save those tyres and have a bit more performance towards the end of the race.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Brad Falver we're looking at right now, driving the number 66 car. What a race he had yesterday. Relentless pressure on Brad for the entire race. He just soaked it up and soaked it up and soaked it up, and he did not make one mistake, not one error.
And if he made a mistake, he'd have been swamped, because there was 3 or 4 cars behind him in a train. I think they were all in that position. Because the Trofeo Pirelli guys are a little bit closer together in terms of pace, there isn't the opportunity to catch somebody napping and dive up the insides. You've really got to put them under pressure, force them into a mistake, and then capitalise on that. But I say, if he'd made a mistake, there was a queue of cars behind him, so he did really well.
Sebastian Mascaro currently P3. John Horsch was P1, but now Sebastian Mascaro takes that P1 title away from him. The Ferrari of Central Florida driver with a 133.031. Well done, Sebastian. Ray Acosta from the collection with a 133.013. Just changing the digits there as Ray Acosta goes P1. So it's all changing now, and it's Acosta from Mascaro, from Levy, from Horsch, from Porter, from Logan, from Van Slovas.
Here comes Eric Pan, yesterday's pole sitter, and moves into P4. So, 0.3 of a second off. So he got pole yesterday with a 131.4. So these guys are still around a second and a half off their lap times of yesterday. I think, judging by the fact that the Copper Shell drivers got so close to the times from yesterday, we should know that the track temperatures are close enough for that performance to be possible for these guys too.
Dan Magnuszewski stays P16 in Trofeo Pirelli Am qualifying as he crosses the timing line. The order is Ray Acosta, Sebastian Mascaro, Ofer Levy, and now Brad Falver on his lap after putting it on P2 makes it P1. with a 1:31.946. Now that's a full second quicker than Ray Acosta. Well done to the Ferrari of San Francisco driver. Victorious yesterday is P1 in qualifying.
Yeah, that's a good lap, and that's getting much more into the territory of yesterday, Dave. Yesterday we were looking at 1:31.4, so just a half second now is in comparison to yesterday's lap times.
Marco Bononomi is the driver coach to Ray Acosta, and he will be metaphorically kicking his backside, saying, come on, Ray, we've got this in us here. And Ray Acosta then crossing the timing line. Does he improve? Ray Acosta then P3.
Yeah, he moved down and then straight back up. So I think Porter got him, and then he got Porter back again. Now Levy has moved up into P4 on that last lap. So our timing screen's pinging like mad at the minute. People are really getting in there now that the tyres are up to temperature.
Yeah, Robert McWilliams improves 4 places, and it's a bit like doing a chart show on the radio here. Who's up, who's down, and who's staying the same? Well, at the moment, Brad Falver is P1. Here comes Dave Musial in the number 30 car. What can he do? This is perhaps his first push lap. P15 for Dave Musial. All of a sudden becomes P8.
Yeah, nicely done.
So Falver from Mascaro from Acosta currently. There's Dave Musial telling you about the liveries.
Yes, that's the one we saw yesterday. Yeah. The Joker on it is great, isn't it? Dave, the lap times have suddenly come in. So it's literally 2 laps to go. The poles are 1:33.0. That would now see you down in P8. So there's 8 tenths of a second across the top 7, 3 tenths across the top 4, and just a tenth between Sebastian Mascaro and our pole sitter.
Here comes last year's Copa champion Eric Marston then, driving the number 26 car. He's currently languishing, if I can use that word, down there in P11. Eric is a supremely talented driver for Ferrari Westlake. By his own admission, he said, it's a real step up, Dave, going into Pirelli-Am. Is he going to be able to improve? He's got some traffic ahead of him, but Eric Marston, do not ever discount him, because he is a great driver. By dint of winning the championship last year, and he's been a regular competitor in the Ferrari Challenge, and very welcome he is too. Hello to Eric's wife, Amy, who I'm sure will be monitoring his progress as we speak. He's coming up into the hairpin now. What kind of time do you need to be as you just touch the apex? I think he's not perhaps quite quick enough.
It's a fair run, isn't it, from there down to the start-finish line through the left hand. The line's coming up now. There it is. He crosses it.
He improves 4 places.
Yeah. And that's 2 rows, don't forget.
Of course,
the rolling start is 4 cars. So it's then it's about whether you're inside or outside. Now, you always think to yourself, if you're a bit further down the pack, let's say you're after row 3. Yeah. At that point, you really want an odd number. By that, I mean you want to be, P5, P7, P9, so that you're on the inside of the grid and you got the best chance to try and move the other guy across. But yesterday, the jostling in the rolling start was bonkers, and we saw a couple of people penalised. The main one, of course, being Trofeo Pirelli. It was, who was it that got the penalty? Massimo Farina, who was came across the line P1 but had a 15-second penalty, just dropped him off the podium. And it was for one of the penalties off the start was for leaving their lane before the start-finish line. So it wasn't to do with when they went on the throttle, it was how they moved across their lane. They swapped lane in your lane.
Grid box.
Yeah, and so he crossed the line too early, and lost the position.
Here's John Horsch then, who you may recall at the beginning of the session was P1. John Horsch finds himself P11 right now, needs to find a bit of pace from somewhere if he can. The number 13 driver, of course, we've been talking about, Ofer Levy. He looked really... He was one of the drivers that was chasing yesterday, and one of the drivers that Brad Falver had to fear. But in fairness, Brad held on to it and he soaked it all up like a sponge. But now Ofer Levy goes P2.
That's a brilliant lap.
1:32.057, but... now Eric Pan goes P2 for the Ferrari Beverly Hills organisation. I've been in that showroom, and it's a 1:31.940. So they're getting closer to Brad now.
Yeah, and Brad's time still that 3 tenths off Eric's time from yesterday. Eric yesterday for the pole was a 1:31.4, and we're looking at a 1:31.7. So Eric yesterday was 5 tenths quicker. Brad, what did he do yesterday? Brad did a 1:31.5. So Brad went 2 tenths quicker yesterday. Eric went 4 tenths quicker yesterday. That would see them switch around, but conditions are different today, and that's not to say they can do the same lap times as they did yesterday. And they've got 46 seconds left, so most drivers are on their in lap, their last flyer.
Michael Porter then for Ferrari of Seattle. I think that's Ray Acosta right behind. Michael Porter dives into the pit lane. Is this Acosta? Have I
Late
got
on the
that
brakes,
right?
yeah, it
Yes.
is. Yeah, late on the brakes, number 7, Acosta. Ray Acosta coming round to see what he can do. As we see, Sebastian Mascaro moves up to P3, just 2/10 off. Where's Acosta going? No, clicks the lap time, but it remains in the same place.
But he can go again.
Yes, he can. Yes, yeah, by 15 seconds, just made it. Yeah, Mascaro, I think that was Mascaro's last lap. Let me see, 1:31.9.
You're doing a great job in terms of jostling that timing scheme.
Yeah, thanks,
because I know
mate.
it's not the work of a moment.
No, it's not. Yeah, well, it was his last lap, was 1:31.9. So, okay, I'm looking again. Yeah, Oliver Levy now is 0.172.
Eric Pan has just
Levy, sorry.
crossed the timing line and didn't improve. He stays P3, and he is not going to be able to go again because the checkered flag is out. The session is over for all of those that are not on a hot lap. If you manage to cross the line before the checkered flag came out, of course your lap can count. So the likes of Brad Falver, Ofer Levy, Sebastian Mascaro, Ray Acosta can, of course, all go again.
I'm wondering if they're still out there or not, because these guys are all on their in-lap now, aren't they?
Yep.
Just cruising in, letting the temperatures come down.
Yeah. Is Ray.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Who's on it at the hairpin,
still-
isn't it?
he's
Who's coming
still
down to
going for
turn
it.
11 with a heart rate of 180, waiting to just dive on the brakes at the last second, see if they can move up a row.
And Ray Acosta then, I'm not sure that's competitive lap.
I don't think it is. He's cruising. Yeah, he's cruising. So so if he's that's the session done then, in my opinion, because anybody else would have crossed the line by now.
So it's Brad Falver then with a 1:31.7 again. And I know I've said this, and Andrew, you'll tell me I'm talking like a fool, but Brad's success yesterday has helped him for qualifying today. You feel good about
it. It's a
everything.
confidence game. It's all a confidence game. Okay, so we think Ophir Levy might still be on a lap, so he's coming round to finish. He's not in the traffic. Can he do it?
No.
Oh, he can't.
No. I mean, you build it, don't you? Build it,
And then we get a little flash on the timing screen, the in-house timing screen, if you like, gives us a flash as they cross the line. And then if it's improved, it will show the improved time. If it just flashes, we don't see their last lap time. Unfortunately, we'll do another column on that. We'll ask see if we can get that arranged.
Here's Brad getting out of the car then, and
he's pretty chill about it, isn't he? I mean, you still see there's a level of stoke. It's okay, job done. That's almost a sign of
level of stoke.
A level of stoke. It's an American thing. There's a level here of I've done what I set out to do. Not I'm surprised at getting pole. You know what I mean? So I've gone out, I've done the job, I've got it done. Look, yeah, you see?
So
you're my new best friend, he just said to Nina Jade. I guess he's happy to be seeing Nina Jade, isn't he? As he won yesterday, so he would have been interviewed by her yesterday, and now he gets to do the same again today.
Absolutely. So well done to Brad Falver, of course, father of Gray, who we'll be seeing out in the next qualifying session for Trofeo Pirelli. But meantime, let's hear what Brad Falver has got to say about his pole position.
Brad, you are having such a strong weekend, my friend. You were notorious in getting the win yesterday. Talk us through that lap today.
Yeah, look, car feels just as good as yesterday. Team's done a phenomenal job. Track's a little slower today. Like, we couldn't quite hit the times. I'm not quite sure why, but I hit a good one, and just thank God for that.
Yeah, pure dominance, Brad. So you won from second place yesterday. Is the victory possible today? Surely.
Yeah, it's just all about that first lap. We'll see how it goes.
Well, wishing you the best of luck,
right.
Brad. Go
Cheers.
on.
Thanks very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well done, Brad. Just let's see how it goes. Probably wise to be cautious. And here's Andrew Coley with the full results then from qualifying Trofeo Pirelli.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, Brad Falver with the pole from Ophir Levy. He said just a couple of tenths of a second off yesterday. They were both a couple of tenths off, as was Eric Pan in P3. The front runners from yesterday right up there again. Sebastian Mascaro into P4. Ray Acosta, Michael Mathes, Michael Porter and Eric Marston are your top 8. 1.2 seconds across those drivers. Harry Chung, Dave Musial, Jay Logan, John Horsch, Robert McWilliams, Dan Magnazuski and Gregory Hopkins down to P15. And they were Gerdas Venslovas and Frank Sesniak. No time for Frank, unfortunately, in that session.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. Some of the beautiful scenery. I have to say, if ever there was a beautiful location for a circuit
This is it.
The Napa Valley is it, isn't it? The Sonoma Raceway.
Yeah, I was
Absolutely
lucky to have a little
beautiful.
cruise around it towards the end of Friday, and on the way home to the hotel. And it is just absolutely stunning. I've been to San Francisco before, but not across to the Napa Valley. And at this time of year in the spring, when it is as green as it is now, it is absolutely stunning. There are bits of it that remind me of the southeast of England, and then some of the trees are just different, and the rolling hills, it's just... And, of course, the rolling hills is what makes this circuit so wonderful, isn't it? They've gone, I'll tell you what, there's a flat bit for a track here, but
carve a
what if
bit.
we turn left and sneak up the hill? And that's what's made this such a great track.
It reminds me a little bit of the Austrian circuit, the Spielberg circuit down there in the Styria region of Austria, because again, okay, there's mountains there, but again, it's the undulating nature of the circuit which I love, because it's a test for our drivers, and of course,
change.
for the likes of you and me who talk about it, and boy, are we not privileged to have that position. It's just lovely when there's something that is really, really going to test the drivers, and I think every one of them would admit that this is not an easy track to master.
This session, watch for the exit of turn 3A, which is the one the drivers are going through right now. There it is, look, over the right-hander and over the crest. That exit on the left-hand side is completely blind, so you're aiming to use all of the curb. But if you misjudge it and you use a bit of the dirt on the outside, boom, you're going off. And you'll see these guys, and there we go. Look, somebody straight away coming too wide off and just ending up luckily keeping it out of the wall, and that's the difference again with these drivers. They're a bit more experienced. If they have a moment, it doesn't necessarily end in the wall. And another one, so cold tyres and the confidence just heading out and getting on it straight away.
Jan Bernier looking on. It was Gray Falver, I think, was one of the drivers that went around. The other driver was Dave Musial 2.0, driving the number 31 car. So as good as those drivers are, it can bite you on the bottom.
Yeah, just as we were talking about that exact corner, 3A is the one over the crest. So watch out for that as the session goes on, particularly when the tyre temps are up, because the cars are spectacular over that crest. That's when you can see someone who's really on it.
Lakeside Pyro Arts down the side of Tony Davis's Continental Autosports car, of course, his other love. Ferrari, I think he would say, is his first, but Fireworks.
Yeah, we had a great chat with him, didn't we? He was saying about when it
second.
changed. What year did he say it changed? Was it 07 or 08, I think? He said it all went digital, and they can simulate how what the fuse length is, and basically it's computer fired. And I believe he put on an incredible display last year, didn't
Watkins
he?
Glen.
Yeah, it was it. Yeah,
it was breathtaking. It was breathtaking. Absolutely extraordinary. And Tony, of course, is one of those drivers that's vaulted a couple of categories in his racing career, as we go on board with Johnny Kaminsky right now. And Johnny Kaminsky, a young whippersnapper yesterday, really impressive.
Yeah, just listening to how gently he is on the throttle. So listen for this. Look, he's turning in really smoothly. Chatter from the front tyres where the car's understeering a bit.
That's almost a double apex turn, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, he's using a lot of steering at the minute. It may be trying to generate a bit of heat in those front tyres, but you could see that at the moment everything is still being warmed up. This is exactly what you were saying earlier, Dave. Look, fifth gear through here. Use the curb on the left through turn 9. Wait for it. There it is, and then into the right-hand side. Now back on the gas as early as you dare. Run it out over the line. A little bit of offset lock. Late on the brakes into turn 11. Put the weight over the nose. You want the weight on the nose still as you're turning in. Get to the paint on the inside. Wait for it. Hold the line. Wind the throttle in. Run the car out to the wall. Don't let it go too sideways. You can see the black rubber of the Pirelli on the wall. Now listen to this through turn 1. How quick's he going to be through here? How warm are the tyres? Barely a hint of a lift, and that's the difference between the top of Trofeo Pirelli and earlier on when we were on board in Copper Shell. Just that bit more experience, a little bit faster through turn 1. Great stuff. Love a good on board.
I tell you what, Andrew, that was exciting just listening to you.
Thanks, mate.
Come over all peculiar.
Thanks. I have to say, I just like cars.
We get that.
It's as simple as that. I just like cars.
If anyone has got their bit between the teeth to put the wrongs of yesterday right, it's got to be this man, Massimo Perina, who got that 15-second time penalty late on in the day yesterday. But Luke French has gone quickest in Trofeo Pirelli thus far, but it's still early doors for these drivers. We expect to see times come tumbling down. But Massimo Perina then didn't get a podium yesterday. It hurt. It hurt, Andrew. I spoke to him at breakfast this morning. He picked up that 15-second time penalty that took any hopes of... I mean, he was very dominant on track.
To come in, remember, 488 Evo last year, did a brilliant job, won, I think, every event bar one, went off, finished his studies, come back, gets the pole, Yeah, you want the dream start, and he had it. He crossed the line first, but unfortunately it was another line that he crossed, which was the line, the rolling start. He switched lanes too early. We were told yesterday jump start, and then I looked at the results overnight and the notice board, and the official notices were up there saying it was a lane change too early. So just means all he did was move across slightly too early, and as you say, it's gutting. So yeah, I think if anybody's going to get a fire lit under them, it's Massimo.
That's it, a fire lit under them.
Yeah,
That's the motivator, isn't it? Yeah, you're quite right.
But also a professional enough driver that while the tyres are cold, you're looking and he, I think this will be the first quick lap just from the attitude in the car. It's Gray Falver at the minute. He's the only person who's done a quick lap, and that's just a P13 within the Pro and Pro-Am.
He's
gone chill.
backed out.
Yeah, so he wants a bit of space.
Yeah.
He wants a bit of space. So watch for the exit. Nice.
He'll go now. He'll go now, won't he? He can. Oh, is he?
Well, I wasn't sure because he took a weird line through the hairpin in terms of exit speed, but it's a wide one.
Jason McCarthy right up his trumpet, and Jason is a committed driver, that's for sure, and he'll be trying to find a way by.
Dave Musial Jr. has just gone quickest. So Dave Musial Jr. with a 1:31.4 goes ahead of Brad Falver's time, which was the pole, if you remember, from Pro-Am. So they all go into the same grid on our timing screens. You're seeing on the left-hand side just this session. So, yeah, now Gray Falver goes up into P2, 0.2 of a second off. 1:31.4. Yesterday's pole time was a 1:30.8 from Massimo Perina.
So we've got a bit of time to find.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6/10. Oh, now we're on board. Okay, now we're getting a wiggle on, look.
Now, Johnny Kaminsky, of course, son of Brian Kaminsky, a long-term campaigner in the Ferrari Challenge, but Johnny is an absolute whirlwind and great to watch. And sorry, I can't be half as entertaining as Andrew was a few moments ago in terms of talking you through these lines.
Short shifted into third, coming through the hairpin. So rather than being in second and lighting it up, he took second through the exit. Listen to that. Lift, roll the car in, get it. Sure, a little bit of opposite lock. Had to hang on to it through there. Just gets it to the apex. That's nicely held onto through there. But yeah, he short shifted from second to third to kill the wheel spin on the exit of turn 11. Brilliant.
Good driving.
Little things. Here we are over the crest. Look, there's the curve on the left that you can't see. Great.
You're completely unsighted.
Yeah, and you're still gathering it up. What's lovely here is we saw him gather it up from turn 1 into turn 2. He's then gathered it up again after 3A on the run down into 4. Look again, fourth. Bring the car in, you come trail braking in, wait for it, he's got no front end, now the front end comes in, now he starts to lean on the rear, out across the drag strip, flat through to the left, he's on a big old push.
I'm going in with a news flash here. Massimo Perina's gone P1, 1:30.973.
Brilliant. Now where's that compared to yesterday? He's only a 10th off yesterday's time. This is wonderful though, isn't it? This is our first full onboard lap through the S's now to the right and then the left again. Look how much more flow there is than when the tyres were cold and you were waiting for it to turn in. Now there's not that chatter, the car's just pushing on through. Curve on the left-hand side through 9, here we go. There it is, into the right, back on the gas through here, 110 miles an hour. Wait for the brakes just before pit entry, now, boom. Watch for the exit, see if he goes up early on the gear again, through second, in through here. No, he didn't, and it got sideways, and that's why you short shift to lose the wheel spin. Still a great exit. Where's he going to be? Kaminsky crosses the line, currently fastest, 1:30.934, nicks the pole, even with that moment coming out of the last corner. Mega.
I am so enthralled, I resign. What a great lap that was.
Weren't we lucky to be on board for a pole lap? Fantastic
It's like you'd rehearsed
stuff.
that. It was super. Here's Roberto Perina, another driver that has got the bit between his teeth following a disappointing day yesterday. He goes to P3. It's all happening in this Trofeo Pirelli qualifying.
Brilliant.
Where Johnny Kaminsky, P1, Dylan Medler goes P1 right now.
Oh.
Make it Massimo Perina.
Taking it back.
Oh, loving this quali.
3:30 to go, and literally the top of the timing screen has changed position 3 times in under 20 seconds. Kaminsky, then Medler, then Perina, 1:30.7. He's gone quicker than yesterday too. So that's who else has gone quicker than yesterday? So's Medler. Kaminsky's just outside yesterday's pole time, but both Medler and Perina have gone quicker than yesterday's pole.
Extraordinary qualifying session from our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. Dylan Medler, the Trofeo Pirelli champion from last year that we can see now, driving that number 15 car, driving for the collection. I still can't quite get over Johnny Kaminsky getting so close to that concrete wall, which does not bend. It does not forgive.
And if he hadn't had that sideways moment, would it have been pole?
Well,
because on the previous lap, it was up a gear early and the traction was there. I'm not criticising, I'm commentating. All we can see is from here, but that sideways, he did well not to put it in the wall.
Didn't he?
Then he took the pole. But yeah, he'll want another lap now, because the thing is, he'll want to go again, and he'll want to get the exit of the hairpin bang on. Look at it, it's 1.164 of a second.
Dylan
Every
Medler
inch.
kicks up a bit of dust as he runs out into the loose stuff. Here he is into turn 15. Can Dylan Medler wrestle away that P1 from Massimo Perina? He's certainly going for it. 130.711 and...
not enough.
It's 3.5 tenths down.
Not enough.
This is
Wonderful.
exciting.
2 minutes to go. Oh no!
Oh, no!
Big off!
That is a big off, and that is the number 18 car. I think of Manny Franco, who was one of the front runners yesterday. In fact, Manny Franco was victorious yesterday. Look at that. That's quite an off.
It's gone in hard on the rear. Looks like both rear corners are damaged. The driver area is fine. I'm sure Manny will be okay. We're going to take a look at a replay of it. Where is it? It's through the S's. Oh, he's dropped it, look, and then in backwards to the tyre wall. Yeah, great that the tyre wall's there, obviously there because of the high speed, but unlucky.
Well, the integral safety of the 296 Challenge car is extraordinary, and Manny will be perfectly okay. The question is that, unfortunately, with that happening and the red flag coming out and merely 1.58, the session is over, Andrew. So
okay.
Anyone that was on a hot lap with just less than 2 minutes, there was no point continuing the session, because no one would be able to warm everything up and get going again.
Yeah, in 2 minutes you wouldn't get it done, would you? Yeah.
So the order we've got is the order we will have, and I have to say,
what a session!
That was really, really enjoyable. I am still absolutely my Gast is flabbered at listening to your
Thank you, mate.
taking us over that lap, because it was
a
really
pleasure.
exciting.
It's a pleasure to be here with you. And we were
really
we
exciting.
were so lucky to be on board
At the
for a
right
pole
time.
lap. Yeah, and okay, he ended
and that's
up
down to our, that's
brilliant
big
direction.
shout out to our
exactly.
production team for
Wonderful.
doing that.
And the camera in the right car. You know, like so much comes together for stuff like that. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Massimo
And if you
Perina.
did, what are you doing? If you didn't enjoy that, what are you watching? Like, if you just come across as accidentally, like, I hope you're on your feet wherever you are in the world, because that was a brilliant session. Perina and Medler as well.
Johnny
Hundredths of a
Kaminsky
second.
too.
I
I
know.
mean, just-
yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
This is going to be an epic race this afternoon.
Well, so Perina's got the pole. He got the pole yesterday.
And he won't make the mistake he made
he
yesterday.
Won't. He will not be changing lanes early today. And my goodness me, as he had to fight for it. Yesterday, Medler was... So yesterday it was 0.864 and 0.877. So there were 13 thousandths in it yesterday. Well, he's done him by 67 thousandths today. So super close. Massimo Perina does take the pole for Trofeo Pirelli from Dylan Medler by, as I said, I added that up myself. I'm quite pleased. 67 thousandths of a second. Johnny Kaminsky, whose incredible onboard lap we enjoyed just a few moments ago. Roberto Perina, Dave Musial 2.0, Luke French, Gray Falver and Brian Cook are your top 8. Just a second across those drivers. Tony Davis, Ethan McWilliams, Martin Burrows, Jason McCarthy and Manny Franco, who unfortunately ended the session in the wall.
May I add something here?
You may.
Manny Franco, they'll get that car sorted. Manny will be in the race. Manny will be laughing possessed.
Oh, can't wait.
Here is Massimo Perina then exiting the car for the Ferrari of Seattle Scuderia 1999 team.
There he
And
is.
There's Manny, perfectly okay. He
Brilliant.
walks away from the car. Again,
That's
I know
all we want to see, isn't it, ever?
I know I labour the point, but the integral safety of these cars is extraordinary. He even gets a cuddle from Nina Jade Paul, Massimo Perina then, but Manny is okay.
Yeah, just looking at the car, Dave. I mean, I agree with you that in terms of
think it's
integrity, yeah, it's hard to see, isn't it?
Oh,
Look how
that's
deep
helped.
the tyres
See
are.
that kick?
the tyre that brings a new thing to the saying tyre kicker, doesn't it? The tyre wall there is deep. It's about 6 layers deep, so obviously that will have helped to dissipate the impact, but you can see it doesn't look quite as beautiful as Perina's car looks on the rear end. So there's definitely a rear quarter needed on the right hand side, and the boys and girls are going to be busy in the paddock. But just good to see that he is okay. That is the main thing, isn't it?
Right now, Massimo Perina, well done, friend. Pole position. He is with Nina J. Paul.
Massimo Perina, nip and tuck all session. Unlucky yesterday, but you showed your dominance today. Talk us through that lap.
Just a little bit faster than yesterday. Did all day and night studying the laps, seeing exactly where I can improve, using my teammates as references because they're the fastest guys I know for sure. So iron sharpens iron, and everyone helps everybody.
Yeah, well done. Were you pushing 100% or is there still time left?
Yeah, 100%. There's still time because I made a couple of mistakes even on that push lap because I was going 100%. But God forbid we come back again later this year, I'll know exactly where to find it.
Where did you pick up the time?
All in the first sector. Yeah, going up the hill, I just carried a lot more speed everywhere and seemed to help out.
Nice, well done. Go well, Zeta.
Thank you.
All in the first sector. Great to hear, wasn't it? He studied it all night, he said, and you just know he did because we said, didn't we? He's had a fire lit under him. It didn't go his way yesterday. That is a brilliant performance to have got that done. Isn't that lovely to see?
Yeah. Tino, his father, passing on his congratulations. You can see Jan Bernier in the queue to offer congratulations as well to Massimo. So well done, Massimo. And that's the mark of a great driver, Andrew. He didn't go back to the hotel and get on the lemonade. He is studying data.
Gone back and got on the onboard. He's gone back, and I love the fact as well that he said that there was even more time to find.
Yeah.
So he found all that time in Sector 1, and if we come back, he knows where to find a bit more.
Extraordinary. Well done to Massimo Perina ahead of Dylan Medler and Johnny Kaminsky.
Brilliant. Well, what a great qualifying. What a welcome to me. This is my first season at Ferrari Challenge North America, and that session, if we can repeat that at every round, I'll be over the moon. It was absolutely brilliant. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Thanks to Nina Jade Paul down the pitch, Dave Richardson, the legend up here in the announcing booth, and myself, Andrew Coley. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back with the first race of the day at 1:50. That's 10 to 2 Pacific time this afternoon. We'll see you then.